In this video, we will look at the numbers on what's a better company to buy right here, right now. Is it Jollibee or is it McDonald's? And when I say McDonald's, it's not just the McDonald's in the Philippines. It's McDonald's worldwide versus Jollibee and everything else in its brand. From Coffee Bean, Smash Burger, Mang Inasal, etc. What's a better company to buy right now? Jollibee versus McDonald's. If you want to know more, then check this video out. It's true that over the years, Jollibee has beaten McDonald's over and over and over and over in the Philippines. That the Philippines is one of the few markets where McDonald's is trailing behind a local fast food chain. And as a Filipino, this is something that's so interesting when you have a local company that's beating a global brand. It's not just that they're beating a multinational brand, it's also because a local brand like Jollibee is spreading out and has ambitions to be a global market leader. So let's see if Jollibee has what it takes to take on McDonald's on a global level. So I want to analyze this with these metrics. Number one, the number of stores that they have. Number two, the global store ranking versus other quick service restaurants around the world. What else? The total number of employees that they have globally, and some ratios connected to fundamental analysis like the PE ratio. I also want to talk about its dividend yield. Then, a quick deep dive on its income from its quarterly earnings, especially for 2020. Then we're going to look at also its yearly earnings to see if there's a trend of growth. Then, aside from that, I want to look at how has the pandemic, the lockdown affected their operations, and how are they recovering right now. And lastly, everyone's favorite, the technicals of both McDonald's and Jollibee. So if you guys are ready, you guys are excited, comment, I'm excited, McDonald's versus Jollibee. Before I also begin, from a bias standpoint, who do you like more? McDonald's or Jollibee? No right or wrong answers, put them in the comment section. Stock ng McDonald's MCD, stock ng Jollibee JFC. Before I also begin, this video is brought to you by Joel Paraiso from Bonifacio Global City, right here in Metro Manila, right here in Taguig. Now, let's read his question. Hi, Sir Marvin. I started investing in the stock market because of your amazing videos. You rock. You are my idol. I am now investing in the Philippine markets and US markets using eToro, all because of you. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise to us. You are the best, sir. Ayan na naman, guys. Bola kayo ng bola. But anyways, my question is this, sir. Since I'm investing in both Philippine and US markets, what do you think is a better stock to buy now? I plan to hold and accumulate the stock for 25 years, and I'm not scared if there's volatility. I can tolerate to keep on buying because my job is secure and I make 150,000 pesos a month. Interesting to, pinapadeclare mo talaga salary mo. I am single, alam ko na kung bakit. And I can invest 100,000 pesos a month from my salary because at 28 years old, I still chose to live at my parents' house because I have no love life yet. Shout out to those single ladies out there. Guys, huwag nyo gawin Tinder yung stock smarts. Ang daming, over the past days, di ko lang kung napansin yun, dami nag-message, hindi lang tungkol sa pera, but tungkol sa love life. But just before I continue with the question, ganun din ako dati. 28 years old, when I was still single, I tried to maximize it to live at my parents' house. Kasi ganun yung interesting dun eh. If you can try to save as much as you can, yung bayad mo sa rent, malaking bagay din yun eh, na malalagay mo for your investing. And kudos to you, 100,000, 2/3 of your income, you're putting into the market. Ayan, isa ka na naman biktima na may pera, may ipon, may savings, pero walang love life. Guys, aanhin ang stock market kung walang love life. Anyways, I need your advice, sir. I just want to know, sir, how can you analyze it? Thank you so much, sir. I'm your biggest fan. I don't skip any of your ads, sir. Best friend ko na si Jason Bond kasi lagi siya lumalabas sa ads. Oo nga, lagi siya lumalabas. Anyways, Joel Paraiso, Taguig. So, thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, again, slide them via Instagram DM. I'm gonna try to answer most of it there. Or via Patreon or via our YouTube community. All of them are in the links in the description below. And tama si Joel, if you want to invest in US markets, we have a link in the description about eToro where you can invest in US markets for $50 only. So head-to-head stores. As of the time I'm making this video, September 2020, and the data that I have right now is from what I can see online only, all those disclosed information that they have. Anyways, McDonald's, as of January 2020, they have 38,000 stores worldwide. So US and all of the other company-owned plus franchises around the world is around 38,000 stores. Very, very strong. Jollibee, as of the time that they bought Coffee Bean last year they had 4,379 without Coffee Bean yet. When they bought Coffee Bean at that time had 1,189 stores. You add them all together, Jollibee total, as of the time they bought Coffee Bean, had around 5,568 stores worldwide. Again, when I say worldwide, it's not just the Jollibee brand. It includes Chowking, Red Ribbon, Mang Inasal, Smash Burger, Coffee Bean, all of their stores in China and Vietnam as well. And even the Burger King franchises that they have in the Philippines and the Panda Express franchises that they have in the Philippines, that's all included. So this one, McDonald's still has a very, very, very large gap up against Jollibee. In terms of its global store ranking, as you all know, it's a far gap. 38,000 to around 5,500 is quite far, quite big. This puts McDonald's at around number 2 globally. Number 1, based on the data that I have, we have Subway pitted at number 1. But here's what's interesting. The gap between Jollibee and McDonald's is quite far, but here's the ideology there. They are very, very close to a lot of the foreign big brands also. This places Jollibee number 15 globally. Number 14 is Orange Julius. Number 16 is Papa John's. So it's very, very interesting that we may see a Filipino company be in the top 10 fast food chains around the world in the next few years with the way they're expanding. But just a disclaimer also, again, the time this video is being recorded, we are sitting in a pandemic. We are sitting in a time that's so different. Stores are closing. So the count that I have right now may also change depending on their pivot. As you all know, Jollibee and also a lot of the fast food chains around the world are also pivoting to a cloud kitchen model that the name of the game now will be how they get to deliver. It will be an e-commerce play, in my opinion. So having an e-commerce play, it may seem that they may not need as much stores, as much physical spaces because of what's happening because of the pandemic. By the way, I forgot to mention this. Please do note that these are not stock tips, these are not stock picks, but this is just me giving you data so that you get to analyze them based on what I'm presenting, and in the same way, it gives you information to be able to trade the markets with confidence. But please remember this, never, ever, ever buy a stock just because someone on YouTube is talking about it. It has to be you who needs to make the decision on your own. It has to be you who needs to know why you are buying the stock. But I just really hope that the videos that we pump out on a daily basis is something that's giving you enough content and value that it tickles your fancy, that it allows you also to do further research on top of this. Next, employees. The global employee count of McDonald's is around 205,000 employees. That's a large number. For Jollibee, based on the data that I've seen, it's around 16,690. I could research more to validate all of this, but this is what I've seen based on the resources that I have. Anyways, PE ratio, this is based on a trailing 12-month area. If you want to know more what PE ratio is, please check my other videos. And by the way, for those of you who want to know certain topics about the market, for sure, out of the 1,600 plus videos we have created, meron na tayo any of those basic topics. Just put a topic that you want. For example, PE ratio, space, Marvin Germo, lalabas yun. So, we've talked about PE ratio in the past videos. If you want to know more about it, just watch the other videos. Anyways, PE ratio, McDonald's, as of now, 35.25 times. I just want to say this as early as now already. When we talk about the income of McDonald's, of Jollibee later on, it's going to show you that Jollibee lost money. So, please remember, PE ratio is price to earnings. You cannot have a price to earnings ratio if the company is losing. PE is under the context that the company is making money. So I'm just gonna make an assumption that Jollibee lost money first quarter 2020, they lost money second quarter 2020 because Jollibee started to reopen third quarter and fourth quarter, that they will start to turn things around. So their EPS for 2020 will be half of what it was in 2019. Their PE would be around 46 times. So again, this is just an assumption because first quarter, second quarter, no earnings yet. So it could be a losing year for them. That being said, the PE of Jollibee, based on that assumption, is more expensive than the PE of McDonald's. But if I'll give you a more bearish scenario that the EPS of Jollibee will be half and half of 2019, meaning instead of 50% lower, it will be 50% of 50%, something like that. We would see the PE ratio increase to 92x, meaning at any scenario, right here, right now, McDonald's looks like a cheaper analysis or looks like a cheaper stock from that perspective. But all intents and purposes, so please do note that at 35 times, that's relatively higher already. Dividend yield, I know, as you all know, I've created a lot of videos about dividends. Here's the dividend yield of McDonald's and Jollibee as of September 15, 2020. And please do note that the dividends is brought to you by their income also for the past year. So I don't know what their dividends will be for 2021, assuming that it's based on how they are performing for 2020. Dividend yield, McDonald's as of September 15, 2020, 2.25%, Jollibee 1.47%. Please do note also that if the reference point is the price of Jollibee, because it has dropped a lot, that's why it looks higher than what it was historically. But in my experience, Jollibee doesn't give this much of a dividend yield. It's just mainly because the stock price has dropped lower than where it was over the past few months, even as compared to where it was before and how high it was before at 300 plus pesos per share. I think if you're a dividend yield investor, if you're a person who loves dividends, McDonald's leads Jollibee from this perspective. Now, in terms of quarterly income, this is a bit interesting because we're looking at first quarter 2020 and second quarter 2020. And as you all know, second quarter 2020, that's a big chunk of the lockdown globally. So for McDonald's quarterly income decreased from 1.5 billion US dollars in June 2019 to around 500 million US dollars, which is around 25 billion pesos. The income was lower, but they made money. Jollibee, on the other hand, lost 1.79 billion pesos for the first quarter, and then they lost 10.2 billion pesos for the second quarter. Now, just to drill in the difference, McDonald's did not grow. Their income dropped, but they made money. Jollibee lost money. Looking at it from a yearly income perspective, this is McDonald's. It's flashing right here, and you can see this. As you can see here, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 for McDonald's, you will see that they're steadily, in a net income yearly perspective, increasing. And that's what we like. We want a company that its income is growing. And as you all know, McDonald's still is a global brand, a massive brand. They're very, very strong in their space. They're very innovative. And it's reflecting also on the net income. So Jollibee, 2016, 6.1 billion pesos, 2017, 6.9 billion pesos, 2018, 8.2 billion pesos. Then last year's drop, 2019, 6.4 billion pesos. So here's what's interesting about it. Last year already, their income was lower than 2018 and 2017, taking them out from whatever growth trajectory that they have. Please remember, Jollibee's income got hit primarily because of Smashburger, because Smashburger has been losing money for them for the previous years. Also, I'd like to mention this. If you put them head to head, because McDonald's is such a global brand in terms of the peso equivalent of it, just look at 2019. McDonald's income in pesos is 301 billion pesos. Jollibee is around 6.4 billion. So it's still a big gap. And McDonald's is growing. Jollibee has gone out of its growth trajectory. I hope you're learning from this, and I hope that this is giving you insight also that we may like Jollibee, and Jollibee may be one of the largest fast food chains in the Philippines, but up against the ones that everyone around the world knows their name, it still has a long way to go. But let's continue. Let's look at the effects of the lockdown and even life after the lockdown. For McDonald's, at its worst, at the peak of the lockdown, 75% still of their stores were open. And I think the difference is because it also has a large exposure in China. And China was one of the first to lock down. While China was locked down, the whole world was still open. When the whole world started to lock down, China naman started to open. For Jollibee, here's the thing. By April 2020, 50% of its worldwide stores were closed. But the good news naman is this. By June 2020, where in Manila also, where we moved from ECQ to GCQ, 88% of their stores have started to open also. And based on a disclosure that they made, that they will be back to 2019 levels by 2021, and they will go back to the 15% growth trajectory by 2022. So let's see how it is and if they follow suit on what they also declared and what they also disclosed. Because it's one thing to say something, but it's also very, very important to see if they will follow suit with what they disclose. In terms of my preference, of food, I eat in both. Sa Jollibee, paborito ko, Chicken Joy, Burger Steak. That's my go-to food every time. Minsan, pag breakfast, I like their corned beef. Their hot dogs also good. Their tapas also good. Lalo na dati nung hindi ako nagpapapayat. Sa McDonald's naman, favorite ko, nuggets. Lalo na ngayon, they have the spicy nuggets. And then if you go to McDonald's abroad, I like their chicken tenders. Sarap din nun. Then, probably burger head-to-head. I still like McDonald's. Their quarter pounders, but I really like it. Anyways, now, let's look at the technicals also. So let's look at McDonald's first. From a technical standpoint, look at McDonald's here. It broke past the resistance at the $215 level. And if you're looking at the 20-day moving average and you're looking at this trend line that I'm showing you, it's progressing and moving into a solid uptrend, and it has broken past the resistance of $215 per share. Please remember that I mentioned that US markets have hit all-time highs last February before the large drop. And like what's happening to a lot of tech stocks, McDonald's also is doing something very, very interesting. It has broken past the highest high and has started to push up higher and started to move into a particular uptrend. The 20-day moving average is also confirming it. If you look at Jollibee naman, looking at it from a chart perspective, and allow me to zoom out first here, looking at it from here, you will see that this large line here at the 300 plus level, right here, we are still seeing Jollibee from a trend analysis standpoint that it still needs to break out from this downtrend. But it's also from its lows trying to start its own counter trend here, which got broken the past few days. So you have Jollibee at a resistance of 151, 125, 108 from a support and resistance level. So looking at the numbers right now, McDonald's looks a bit appealing because of its sheer size, its exposure to different countries that somehow right now, September 2020, have gone past the lockdowns and people are starting to go back to eating out again. And because it was able to make a net profit when Jollibee was losing money when a lot of the stores were closed during the lockdown. However, just to put it also into perspective, from a valuation standpoint, please remember, McDonald's is pushing high upon high upon high, making it relatively expensive. So you have to remember this. From a trend analysis standpoint, it's in an uptrend, but it would be effective if you already came in earlier and you're just maximizing your position. Jollibee, on the other hand, still has not reversed from a chart point of view right now. And I think for it to move up, it must show a bigger sense, a larger evidence that it's actually reversing with reference to how they're also making money. So I hope you guys got a lot from this, and I hope that this is something that's helping you, and I hope that this is something that's giving you enough data from a point of view of some important financial numbers that Jollibee and McDonald's would have, the technicals also, and its global footprint. So at the end of the day, here's my opinion on it. If you have dollars, so use that dollars to buy US stock. If you have peso, position them on peso so it reduces also your currency risk. If you have the ability to diversify, then do so. But only buy when your parameters for both fundamental and technical analysis have been hit. And I just showed you in terms of valuations, I just showed you in terms of income, I just showed you in terms of dividends and where they are on a global standpoint. If you want more and you want a deeper dive on this, put it in the comment section. I want more Jollibee versus McDonald's, and we're gonna make more videos on top of that for all of you. So there, if you're new to this channel, my name is Marvin Germon. I have 2 channels in YouTube. This channel where we have 1,600 plus videos already. My second channel, Stock Investing Made Easy, where we have started our series on raw technical analysis videos. So if you want more stuff like this, like, share, subscribe, and smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about the stock market. In the description below, I also have other links and playlists that will beneficially help you for you to know more about technical and fundamental and the basics of the markets. And if you want to know more, I have books that are available on Shopee. Links are in the description below if you want to know it and other items pertinent about me and you learning more about the market. So I guess that's it. I hope that, I don't know, was this something that's helpful? I want to know if this is something that's helpful. Put it in the comment section if you learned something from this. Put it in the comment section if this was something that's insightful and informative and helped you as a stock market trader and investor. But again, I'll say this over and over. If you have a chance to invest both Philippine and US markets, do it. Because at the end of the day, they're all assets eh. And the more assets you have, the better it will be for you. It doesn't have to be McDonald's. It doesn't have to be Jollibee. It could be Tesla. It could be Ayala Land. It could be Microsoft. It could be SM. But what's important is you are deploying capital into an asset that you know. What's important is you are deploying capital on an asset that you've studied, understood, you know the risk, you know the reward. The most important thing that you could ever do when you start investing is to come into an investment na pinag-aralan nyo. Kasi pera nyo yung nakasalalay dun eh. Pera nyo yung nakalagay dun eh. It's a conviction that you placed with the money that you have that will take you places and will bring your portfolio at a higher level. So I hope you guys got a lot from this. And I hope that this is something though different. I hope that this is something that gave you enough ideas to be able to compare, analyze, and trade the markets with confidence. So this is Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all. Grabe ka naman, Joel, Jason Bond. Pero I appreciate yung mga nagsusupport sa channel, those who keep on watching. Maraming salamat na kahit di ako gwapo, sinusuportahan nyo ako.